Today on Faithfully Fantasy.
Chapters 16 to 20, in my opinion, jam-packed full of foreshadowing. I just can't wait to see if you picked up any of the foreshadowing that's coming ahead.
For some reason getting healed by Professor Kaori.
Why is he doing that?
Rebecca Jarrah's well, I need him to tell a little bit what's going on with the Imperial and the stuff, and the best reason I can find is just put in the bandage. Yeah, do you know what you're doing? No, but tell me, how is it? What is going on with Brenna's there, because I have no details.
Yeah.
So for me there's just two things I'm thinking right now. Satan, the one who kills Brenna, or something like that. Maybe he's not dead. Maybe he's still alive.
If you were an intrinsic, you
know
would
that you would die.
have to try and hide it. Yeah, you know you'd die. So what would you do? You'd have to pretend that maybe you needed to touch someone's face every
Back to
time.
the old topic.
Yeah.
Hello and welcome to Faithfully Fantasy.
The husband and wife podcast talking all things fantasy fiction.
Join us as I begin to my first read-through of Fourth Wing by Rebecca Jarrah. Today we'll be talking about chapters 16 to 20, and these chapters, in my humble opinion, there's some hidden gems that we definitely need to talk about it today.
Yeah, the chapters 16 to 20, in my opinion, are jam-packed full of foreshadowing for not only the rest of the Fourth Wing book, but Iron Flame as well.
Oh, interesting.
I just can't wait to see if you picked up any of the foreshadowing that's coming ahead.
Yeah, there was a few parts when I was reading that was like, okay, this might be kind of like a seed, something that you just put it there and later on we'll see it growing. Well, I wasn't sure if I next chapter, next part of the story, or maybe in this case could be next book.
Yeah, it's full of them, and on my second read through, I could not believe that I had not picked up half of the clues. Some of them, they're just so obvious on the page, and I had no idea the first time I read it. You are putting a lot more thought into your first read through than I did. I just absolutely raced from front cover to back cover, so I'm sure you will have picked up some things, but let's see.
Yeah, let's have a look.
Shall we start with the summary?
Yes, let's do it.
Okay, so if you remember, Violet bonded 2 dragons and all hell is breaking loose. There's generals shouting left, right and centre that it can't be allowed to have 2 dragons to 1 rider. Violet is getting her ankle strapped by Kaori for some reason. He's not a medic. And Jack finds out that Ten is Violet's dragon. He is pissed. Ten tells Violet to stay with the wing leader, while the Empyrean, the Dragon Council, debates whether the choice can stand. There has never been a case of 2 dragons choosing 1 rider before. Damp Dane strikes again, trying to convince Violet she needs to sack off Ten and choose Andana, because he's a total wet blanket and wants her to be stuck behind a desk for her whole career. She tells Damp Dane what happened at Threshing, and he accuses Xaden of interfering. Violet learns that Ten and Sir Gale are a bonded pair, and the death of any one of them will set off a chain reaction that would end in the death of the other. The dragons come back and all is as it should be. Ten and Andana's choice stands. Violet steps forwards and she becomes marked by her dragon's magic. A beautiful relic of a giant black dragon with a smaller golden dragon in the centre. Dane kisses Violet and it's all she's ever wanted, but shit, she doesn't want it anymore. The morning after, and Vi seems to be the only one not celebrating, in inverted commas. Rhee asks her about Dane and she says she feels nothing. Probably because he's a total wet blanket, as I've said. They head into breakfast and right into a power shift. All of a sudden, Violet is treated with respect. She's about to be the most powerful rider in the quadrant after bonding Ten. Twat Barlow isn't so lucky. He's pushed out of his seat and treated as lesser than the rest because he's got a tiny little dragon. All of a sudden, Imogen is on Violet's side and promises to train her in the gym. Doesn't take long for Violet to figure out this is all because of Xaden, though. Violet's on library duty, collecting requests from the Riders Quadrant Library and taking them back and forth to the archives. We meet Jacinia, the scribe who has translated this text. Violet asks for the Tales of the Baron, but it's not there. Weird. We get more flight lessons, Damp Dane giving her a mouthful for not being able to keep her seat. Actually, in his worst show of lack of faith to date, poor Jeremiah, manifests his signet. He's an intrinsic, a mind reader. Xaden wraps him in shadow to avoid him spilling Garrick's thoughts until Professor Carr, the signet trainer, snaps his neck. Later that night, Violet is dreaming of a conversation with Daddy Sorengale when she is woken by Tern screaming, "Wake before you die." I'm not sure I got the voice right for you. A group of unbonded riders are there to kill her in the hopes they will land the baddest dragon around. She's cornered. She's out of options. She's going to die. The door flies open before time stops still. The sexy shadow man kills every one of them without getting even a drop of blood on his leathers, but he can't understand how Violet was on one side of the room under Oren's knife 1 second and on the other side of the room the next. Garrick and Bodhi rent a clean-up crew, while Xaden undoes Violet's dragon scale corset. Just to check she's not broken her ribs, of course. He puts on her boots and takes her through the secret squirrel tunnel to the flight field. They find out that Undana is a baby, not Sir Galen Terns though, and baby dragons have special abilities that can be directly channeled to the rider. It's not a signet, but Undana, and by extension Violet, can stop time, in small increments. We must not tell anybody. Oren Seifert's name is finally on the death roll, which means Violet can finally eat breakfast again without fear of him poisoning her. Shadow Zaddy decides she needs a bodyguard, so he moves our favourite blonde-haired, blue-eyed, built like a brick shithouse, Tyr, Liam Mari, into the Iron Squad. Xaden strides towards the dais as Commandant Panchek fumbles with the codex. There has been a violation of Article 3, Section 2, and unfortunately for Amber Mavis, Third Wing's wing leader, attacking a cadet in their sleep is not only dishonourable, it is a capital offence. In contrast to Xaden, who is acting only on Violet's word, of course, Damp Dane doesn't believe her. He reaches for her face in an attempt to steal the memory, or get her to admit she's lying. In fear of letting him see that Undana stopped time, she backs away, instead asking Tern to show her memory to the other dragons. Amber's fate is sealed. She is barbecued by Tern, and her dragon laments.
Good one.
Did I get everything?
Good summary. I mean, the overall is everything there, but we need to go deeper on each chapter.
Quite a lot happened, didn't it? When I was writing that summary, I was like, whew. And when I was reading it, I needed to take quite a lot of breaths.
Yeah, there was a few chapters. I can't remember. I think it was like chapter 18. I remember that for me was like, wow, this is a long one, because with the other ones, when I was reading, it was like really quick, like just one thing happened and then boom, next chapter. With that one was like one thing, then the next, and then the next, and it's still going. And like, oh my God,
yeah,
so many things.
Some of them had a couple of scene changes in the chapter, didn't they? So that something was happening, and then the next thing happened, and you would normally that'd be another chapter, but
yes, exactly.
They're quite long chapters.
Okay, so we'll start with chapter 16.
What did you think?
Okay, so chapter 16, when she is, just going to say with the first aid, because after all these tests, flying, return, she needs some help, but she's not the only one. There's people that's even in worse condition than she is. So I think so far for her, nobody was like giving that much faith on her. She did very well. And she see Jack Barlow. There's just finding out that he's going to maybe need surgery for this damage that she did to him with the dagger.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, sure.
How did Jack climb his dragon's leg when he only had one arm? I wanted to ask you that last week, but I couldn't give you the spoiler that he survived.
Yes. That's a really good question, but something that we noticed when he was in the parapet, that he had a lot of skills. He was basically running in the parapet. So he had a really good balance. So I'm not sure if he is able to move his shoulder, but it's just like really painful.
Yeah.
Or he managed to do everything with just one hand. So
Yeah.
just climbing and maybe teeth.
And maybe he's got a tiny dragon, so he didn't actually have to climb.
Yeah, just
25
jump
feet.
like a horse.
Yeah.
But I really like that scene when she is just there, like you say, for some reason getting like healed by Professor Kaori.
Yeah, why is he doing that?
I don't know. I think just Rebecca Yarrow's like, well, I need him like to tell a little bit thing what's going on with the Imperial and the stuff. And the best reason I can find is just put in the bandage.
All the dragon, all the dragon politics going on. Don't you think?
He will be like next to the dragons or with the generals.
I think he'd be explaining
yeah.
to Lilla Soringa like the Empyrean will meet now and all of this because he's like the resident expert in the Empyrean.
And
but no,
what
he's
heard?
too busy because he's rapping. Unless he wasn't supposed to be, but he was so desperate to talk to Violet because it's Anne that he was like, "I'll help."
And yeah, maybe he didn't dare because she say that he was putting the bandage, but she can tell that he had like a lot of questions.
Yeah.
But maybe the poor guy, he didn't dare to do it.
It just seems so odd that the dragon professor. I would be like, are there any healers around, Professor?
Yeah. Do you know what you're doing?
Do you know what you're doing?
No, but tell me, how is it? Yeah, actually, when I read it the first time, when he said how is it, I thought he was talking about how he's flying with Terran. And then she's like, yeah, it hurts, but it's okay. Like, oh, right, the bandage.
So weird.
Yes. But anyway, we see now there's Violet there. Then Jack Barlow, he just finding out that the injury that he has is actually serious thing because there were some ligaments that were damaged. And he might need surgery, so he won't be like full potential at least for weeks, maybe a month. And he is really cross, and he see that Violet is there, and he is always really cross with her. He is like, you!
Oh, he's such an arsehole.
Yes.
Like,
but,
he's supposed to be. He's a really good villain because you hate him.
yeah. Well, I don't think like really good villain. It's more like annoying one. You know, like in Game of Thrones, there was like this actor that he was doing like the king. Can't remember what was the name, but everyone hate that guy. And even when the actor was walking around, everyone was just shouting at him, or they being really mean with him. When the only bad thing that he did was like being a really good actor.
Yeah.
And I think after that, we didn't see that anywhere else.
That's like what Alan Rickman said about being Snape.
Yeah.
He used to have to try really hard when other children visited the set because they were so terrified of him.
Yes, but I think the good thing about this scene is that Violet is not scared anymore. She just stands out there and it's like, okay, you want a piece of me? I'm here.
Yeah,
Come get
he
it.
ran.
Yeah, I'm not the one who's running. You're the one who ran. And when he found out that actually she is now the new rider of Tern, the dragon that he wanted from the beginning, that must be like really cool feeling from Violet.
Yeah.
Like seeing his face.
And Kaori is like, Bade, isn't it? He's had 4 riders before you. So that just goes to show that Bade...
You're going to be just one more.
Yeah, Bade isn't that fussy about who he or she picked. He, I think, Bade's... I'm not
think
sure.
so. But yeah, I like how Violet just in a few chapters she started to like evolve, and now it's like acting more like a rider. Like if you're on fire, I'm here, ready. If you want me, I really like that. And the other thing that for me was a little bit like weird, I have to say, because then we see the Dane appears and he starts to say like, oh, Kat told me that you are now returning this another Drago Arand, or well, he said like another day.
Adorn,
or
yeah.
something like that. And he is the one who says to her that Tarn is bound to Sagel. And that the thing that is weird for me is like, how is possible that she didn't know about it? Because Dane is the one who says it's like the bonding of the century or like really special one. Because they've been together for such a long time or something. Is how I understand.
I think the question is, how does Dane know?
The thing is, because he's a squad leader, I don't know if it's like something that everyone there's maybe in a rank or there's a rider, they know about it. But I found them weird. It was him the one who told it, and like Professor Kaori talking about in the class when he was talking about 10, because he projected everything. He said a little bit about 10. Well, all the information like 5 years ago.
About Sagale as well.
Yes, exactly. So why he didn't mention the dragons can bond as well, or how it's possible that
Probably just, I know this sounds really naff, but it's probably just that it wasn't the right time to let that information slip. But I'm not sure I'm convinced that Dane is the right person to know. So yeah, maybe that could have been different. But
yeah. So maybe in this case, it could be just because he had the signet that he can see memories. Somehow he found out because somebody else and something that only he knows.
Yeah.
And now because Violet is involved, then he thought that she should know about it too. But in the way that he was talking about, like, that was like something that everyone knows.
Yeah. But I can't imagine if he did find it out by memory searching.
Yeah.
He didn't do it by touching Zayden's face, did he? Can you imagine?
Oh, Zayden, you have something here. Let me scrub it.
But we have a theory. We have a potential theory about Dane, don't we?
Yes.
How, like, maybe we should talk about it when we get to the intrinsic part.
Yes.
To Jeremiah. Right.
That's another thing to talk to be honest. Okay. Let's see what else we have. So that was one thing that I found like curious. What else? So Violet, now she knows that she is linked to Satan as well. Mm-hmm. So if something happened to Violet, Tam will die, Segal will die, and then Satan will die, because now everyone is connected. But that's another question that I have, because right now it's like the weakest point of the bond. So even if a Violet dies now, that means then Tarn will die. Or maybe there's still a chance that it's not that strong, so he will survive anyway. Because after there's some people that wants her dragon. And that's the thing that I was wondering, if she got killed and Tarn, because Satan is the one, I think he's the one who mentions Tarn and makes a really strong bond, and that one maybe he doesn't do it very often, because the last one, when he lost the rider, Nelly killed him. Mm-hmm. So he's like really patient, because the next one it might kill him. But that means even from day one, from the bond, or
no, so he chooses Violet as his last rider, not his next rider. That's what he's decided. So I think he just wouldn't choose another rider. But I don't think that's a real situation. He is not going to let Violet die.
Yes.
So I think in bonding Violet on Threshing, he decided then, right, this is it. This is my last rider. Mm-hmm. Then he will not let her die. So I don't think we have to worry about that. There isn't that possibility couldn't happen, because he has decided Violet is his rider and he is not going to let her die. Yeah.
Well, unless then maybe the two of them die.
Well, that would be a bit rubbish, wouldn't
it? Well, there's 5 books in it, so it's not going to be in the third one.
I already know what's going to happen at the end. Can't wait to be able to tell you. I say I already know. I don't have a clue. I think I know. And I'm wildly confident in my theory. Mm-hmm. And it will be completely wrong.
Yeah. But there's another thing, and this is a scene that she mentions, and it just come to my mind again. There's something going on here. It's in the part when she said that she's linked to Satan, and it's again like the son of the big betrayed or the big traitor.
The great betrayer.
And and now she says, and his father is like direct responsible of Brennan's death. And again, it's like, okay, she's talking again about Brennan's death. So far, there's no details about it. Mm-hmm. Until this point, I don't know how he died. I don't know, did he die in battle? Did he get captured and then Satan's father killed him directly, or he ordered just to kill him? Mm-hmm. What happened? I had like no more details. No. And for me, as a writer, I think a writer has to be like a magician. A magician, when he's making a trick, it just show what they want to show, what the public needs to see. No more, no less. Mm-hmm. And then the details, when the trick is, it hide it somehow. It's like you hide it with the smoke, with the mirrors, with something, but you try to call the attention. And every single time when I hear like, oh, Brennan's dead and it happens in that time, it's always like I feel like Rebecca Yarros telling me that don't look there, nothing is happening there, trust me, nothing is happening.
Yeah.
But it's like for me, when every single time when it comes to that, like, okay, something's going on with Brennan's dead because I have no details.
Yeah.
He's a really important character, Violet's life. I think because he's there, he's died. I don't know if he got sick or it was just too sad that he died. So she lost two members of the family because that moment, and we still have not the details about it. So for me, there's just two things I'm thinking right now. One of them is like, okay, we don't have details. It's because those details, it will show later on. Mm-hmm. And when we know more details about it, it will change big time what's going on. Yeah. Let's go to say, we found out that it was maybe Satan, the one who kills Brennan, or something like that.
Wow.
And then it's like, shit. Like, that's one of the reasons that we don't know. The other theory that I have is that maybe he's not dead. Maybe he's still alive, and then because there's no many details about the death, at some point he will come. And because in previous episodes you said as well about Tern's previous writer, how about the name? Neolin, yes. We don't know details about him as well.
All you know is that Kaori says Neolin died trying
to resurrect or bring back Brennan from the death.
Yeah, trying to resurrect him, and failed.
Yes.
So that's what we know.
Yes, that's the thing that we highlight two mysterious deaths, but until this point, I don't know if. Do we have the bodies? Do we know what happened? They've been cremated.
So you do find out a bit more by the end of Fourth Wing, but we still don't know what exactly happened in that moment where Neolin was trying to save Brennan's life. Yeah. So we don't see a flashback of that yet. We don't see, but I agree with you. There's definitely more to it.
Yeah.
I have a major theory surrounding this, but I can't talk to you about it until probably after the first few episodes of Iron Flame, because you get a little bit more, but not. You don't get the answers.
Yes.
Yeah. But yeah, I know what you mean. On my second read through, you just notice how many times that is spoken about, and there's definitely something around Violet's dad that we don't know about yet either.
Yeah. But it's that feeling that I get every single time when she mentions Brennan's death and nothing else is happening. So for me, yes, something really big. It's going to happen when we know the details. Like I say, he might come at some point. I don't know if maybe next book or on some point, and then find
I'm
out that
still waiting
actually.
for details, just to disappoint you. At the end of Iron Flame, is still waiting for some answers.
Yes. Okay, so what else we have here? So chapter 16. So the other thing that I was thinking about, she had now two dragons. So she had two dragons. She had two relics as well, in the back. One is the black one. There's the one that represents Tern. And the little one, there's the one that represents Andarna. But Andarna, we found out later on that she won't be golden for too long.
Yeah.
There's a reason that she's golden for now, but no, it will be like for a long time. I was wondering what's going to happen to the relic. It will change color as well.
Tattoo?
Yeah.
Oh, I said tattoo. I wonder, maybe. Don't know.
They didn't mention it. Like
Maybe. Can't remember.
it has to be maybe next book because Tan mentioned that she will be a full grown out dragon in like in a year or 2 years.
Yeah.
Which I'm thinking.
I've got a question to ask you later on that when you're skipping ahead.
Okay.
You can skip ahead if you like.
Yes. But yeah, that's something I was thinking about as well. Like, is the relic a change because like the bond then it gets stronger as well, and that relic is kind of like what makes the magic go through the rider. So I was thinking as well, if the bond then is getting stronger, that means that the mark is getting bigger as well. So bigger mark, bigger power coming in to the rider.
Maybe. Who knows?
Okay. So what else we have here? Okay, so after this, we find out what is the Imperium. I think maybe it was like the first time they mentioned about the dragons had like a group as well when they decide as a species, okay, what is going to happen, or when there's a big decision, what is going to be. So the Imperium is the one who decide if Tern and Andarna is going to be sharing Violet as a rider. And because that never happened before, there's no laws against it. So that is just something that they can't do anything, even when the generals are against it, because they just think that it's not fair. There's so many people that didn't get a dragon. I think it was 41 people by this time or something like that. They didn't get a dragon and she got 2. So they might think, oh, well, it's not fair. She got the biggest one and another one as well. But the dragons are the one who decide. There's another scene here when Danes come back and he was like, oh my god, Violet, you made it, you have the 2 dragons. And he was cupping his hand in Violet's face again. And it's been a couple of times when I see this happening, and I was just wondering, what is the deal with this guy and the signet? Because I remember in the first time when he talks about his signet, he's saying that he needs to put like basically the hand, the temple.
The temple.
Yes. So basically in the head, and that's how he knows what happens. But I think I have this feeling that he's not telling completely the truth. Because there's been a couple of times there's like he's doing that movement in Violet's face. And later on, there's something that we need to talk about, and I think it's in chapter 20.
Yeah, we said this already.
He wants to do it as well just to get the memory back when he can see the actually Amber opening the door. And he's doing it exactly the same movement.
Yep.
So he's going to the face, not to the temple. So I'm thinking that he is like being friendly and showing kind of like love.
Do you think, though, that you would know the difference? We're going to act it out now, which isn't great for podcasts. But do you think you would notice the difference if I was going towards your face, whether I was going to touch your face here or your temple up at the top? He just goes towards her face. I don't think she would say he goes towards my temple. I think it's just a more natural way he reaches for my face. But I know, I get your point, and I think there's more to Dane's signet than meets the eye.
Yes, I think he was being honest.
Would you be?
That's the point, because if actually he's intrinsic, maybe he's just saying this. I was like, oh yeah, my word just is the recent memory, and I had to touch.
Yeah.
So it's like no capital
Even
offense.
if that's how it started, I think we might have talked about this in
Yes.
the first episode. Like, how do you know that signets get stronger? Signets get better? How do you know that he can't just read your memories anyway? Yeah.
Maybe.
Anything else on chapter 16?
Just the last bit. He kissed Violet, and then Violet is like, well, finally it happens, but then at the same time when it happens, it's just like, oh,
Nothing.
nah, I don't feel anymore. But there's a good reason about it as well, because they had a fight with Zayden. When I think Dan goes twice with Violet. The first one is to like understand what's going on. Did you catch two dragons?
She must choose the golden one.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
It will be the easy one for her, because she probably shouldn't have to go to battle, because the dragon won't be able to carry her to battle.
Yeah.
So it's again, he's saying that she's just like
Weak, not strong enough.
She has no rider material, basically what he's saying. And something that Violet, I think she sees straight away. They took it to like one of the corners and next to the shadows. So it's like he knows Zayden is going to be listening, or he will be paying attention. And of course he does, because then there's a moment when Dane is about to say, like, okay, Zayden was cheating. Zayden appears like magic.
Yeah.
Like, what have I done?
The
Tell me.
shadows.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. So he knew everything was going on. And then it's here when he asked to Dan, okay, if she is your best friend and everything, will you bend the rules as I did to save her? And he says no.
Yeah. Do you want to know what my bullet point for this moment is?
Well,
Damp Dane, ooh, gross. I am not a Dane fan.
well, if there's any fans there about Dane, let us know. Will be the first one.
Well, things might change.
Is it?
At this point in the book, at this point in the series, I am Dane's like worst fan. What's the word? Not biggest fan, like
hater.
biggest hater. Yeah.
Yeah.
But things might change. You never know.
Yeah.
I have some things.
Okay.
Surprise, surprise. Right, I'm gonna hit you with my second, because I did mention it in Kaori's class. But another bit of my theory to do with nailing.
Okay.
The epigraph, and I only noticed this on this read through, and I've read it quite a few times now. It says something like, it's not known at what point a dragon decided to bond only one rider
Two.
rather than go for better odds with two. Violet now has better odds, but that epigraph isn't about dragons having a rider having two dragons. That epigraph is about a dragon having two riders.
Yes.
How do we know that the discussion wasn't only about Andana and Tern or Violet? How do we know that they weren't also discussing
Turns now.
Tern has
Violet.
two riders?
Yeah.
We don't know, and we don't know by the end of Iron Flame. And like I said, you get very, very little evidence. But like you said, we don't have enough details.
Yeah.
And just that epigraph makes me think, hang on, a dragon can maybe have 2 riders. They just choose not to.
Yes. I think, the first time when I read this book and I started to see like the epigraph, I was like, oh, this is so weird. Why she's doing this?
They are jam-packed full of clues.
Yes. Then when I started to realize that the epigraph was like, give you the heads up what's going to happen, I'm like, ooh,
but then not
that's
just
clever.
the heads up of what's going to happen now. That, I think you're supposed to read that in the way that says Violet has better odds with going with 2 dragons. Incidentally, I think she does, because if, this chain reaction, if Xaden died, I don't think Violet would actually die because she'd be chained to Andana. So, say Xaden dies, Sigale may die, or Sigale dies, Xaden dies, Tern dies. Violet doesn't necessarily die. She'd be absolutely heartbroken, but she's got Andana.
Andana, yeah.
So it talks about better odds there. So there's some foreshadowing.
Yes.
Tern or Andana could die. That could be a foreshadowing of that. I'm talking about Onyx Storm onwards, so spoiler alert, but neither Tern or Andana dies in Iron Flame. Sorry for ruining that for you, but I want to be able to talk about it because I think that epigraph in chapter 16 and the one in 19 are just absolutely jam-packed full of clues.
Yes.
I thought it was funny, there was another point around Kaori in the medic tent where he said, after what I saw, I don't think you'll have trouble mounting and dismounting Tern. He obviously saw Tern bend and kind of supplicate for her, and I think he finds that really interesting.
Yes.
Because dragons don't do that. So I think he's making a specific comment on that because that's weird.
Yes.
Why doesn't Violet tell Kaori that Jack tried to kill Andana?
I think it's more about she doesn't want to be like the one who is telling to the teacher that somebody's being naughty, because that's kind of like you being. I don't know if you've been a coward, but nobody likes somebody that's like telling to the teacher. So
yeah, but so I think maybe she's keeping it as leverage in that moment, but she's got no problem telling all the others because she tells the others at breakfast, doesn't she?
Yes.
And she says that's why Oren Seafoot is it probably hasn't bonded because
he tried to kill
and then Tern saw that and Tern told the other dragons, but Jack Barlow still bonded. Anyway.
Yes.
That I thought was a bit like she could have just told the teacher. I would have done.
I think maybe that was the only reason that actually Jack Barlow, he managed to bond that dragon, because when he ran away, Tern wasn't there, so he didn't see him. So maybe by the time that he was running away, he found the dragon, and then he escaped with the dragon.
Yeah.
When Tern was there just making more barbecue with the other ones.
Riddick and Sawyer have all bonded.
Yes. That's a really nice moment as well when they start to talk about what kind of dragon they got. So Rick and the green dragon that she wanted.
Is Riddick's brown?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think it was the only brown one, isn't it? I think they say there was just one brown.
Yeah, maybe. And then Sawyer, a red scorpion tail. Sawyer, like the moment where they see that Sawyer's bonded and he is just so happy, that just makes me really emotional, because imagine waiting a whole year doing this all again and finally getting your dragon.
Yes, that's like a really nice moment, because last episode I was thinking, well, it might be like, yeah, he's going to get a really good dragon because now he's prepared.
Yeah.
Or he's going to be just a guy who never going to be abundant. He would just die, just try.
When you said that last week, I was gutted. Because imagine if she'd chosen to do that, to have one character that just was not destined to be a rider, and you could be strong and you could be tough.
Yeah.
But you just went... But he got a dragon. I've just noticed one of my notes that I could have said earlier. When you said about the bond to do with Violet and turn, would it already be that strong?
Yeah.
She starts to panic when she feels like she's cut off. You know, when they're in the Empyrean and they're talking about it, the bonds.
Yes.
And she tries to reach turn. I think she says, "Are they going to make me choose?" But nothing comes back. And she starts to panic. She doesn't like feeling cut off. So I think that shows already that they've got quite a strong bond.
Yeah.
Because she shouldn't even be used to that, but she is.
Yes.
We get to know a bit about Milgren from dinner table chat. He's really cruel. So that's just a bit of an intro to Milgren. Also pretty cool that she can see through her dragon's eyes.
Yes, that was pretty cool when she finally is able to see her own back and she can see their relic.
How cool are relics?
Yeah, it has to be really cool because those are like my two favorite colors, black and golden, and she have it. But
A gold tattoo?
Yeah, a golden
Is
one.
that even possible?
Probably. No, there's so many things that you can do with tattoos. There's like so many
Really?
crazy things that you can do now. So I think you will have something like that.
Maybe I can get a little gold dragon. Although, as we decided, as we talked about already, she isn't going to be gold for long.
Yes, exactly. And that's going to be the interesting thing to find out later on. Is the tattoo going to be still golden or will change for whatever color is?
I'm going to ask you, be prepared for me to ask you to place your bets on what colour she is, because we do find out. I know.
I don't play, I guess.
I know, but you don't know.
So
Right.
mature.
Chapter 17.
Yeah. Just one thing before we pass, because I will remember now talking about the bonding between Terry and Violet. Actually, when they go for the flight for the first time and she fall, he went to take her. And that could be like maybe something to say about the bonding. Obviously, he doesn't want her to die.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I mean, in this point, we don't know if it's just because he's being nice with her, because maybe he decided, okay, she's going to be my rider and she's going to last more than 10 minutes. Or it's like, oh, if I should die, then I'm fucked because I'm bonded to her and then I will die.
Well, I think it's a couple of things. She's quite clearly embarrassing him, isn't she?
Yeah,
So he's like, I am not going to be embarrassed by you. Just stay on my back.
Yeah. Making it look bad.
Yeah, and also the fact that he's been through all of this, he knows she's worthy. He knows her. Like, as soon as he's in her head, he knows
Everything about her.
I know exactly who and what you are, Violet Sorrengail.
Yeah.
And he knows that she's got challenges around her joints and her muscles and her physical ability to cling on to that, to hold her seat.
Yes.
So he knows, and I
Yes.
don't think he's about to let her fall just because of that.
Yes. It's more like a physical thing. They're like holding it back.
Yeah,
but
she's strong and she is, but she just hasn't learned how to hold her seat yet. She'll be fine.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, chapter 17.
Okay, chapter 17. So now we have new riders. Things have changed. Now they have their own room, which I think is nice after just few months like sleeping with
bunk
everyone.
beds.
Exactly.
Ugh. Imagine how much that stank, that room.
Yeah, exactly. After all the training, all the stuff, and all mixed there. But yeah, she had her own room. Things have changed for her as well. Now she can't be in the kitchen because now that's a lovely job for the people who couldn't manage to get a dragon.
Are they just staff for the rest of the year then? Is that what they do? Because they don't learn to manifest signets. They can't do flight lessons. Like, what do? They go to battle brief and just chores. They're basically staff.
I think what it happens is by this point they still have opportunity to bond, because we start to see that some of them were making
Caroline.
No, but there's people that will die just with the flying lessons. So you don't have to even kill anybody. It's just like wait for one of them to die.
Gravity.
And yes, so yeah, there's gravity in this place, gentlemen, ladies. And they just maybe what I think, I don't know if I send the book, but I think maybe they will be there for a period of time, X time, until the bonding is stronger enough and until they learn how to ride. And then when it's like, okay, there's absolutely no chance that one of these guys will die, or the dragon, it won't be like the rider. So it's like, okay, now your chances for waiting and getting born is just 0. So now just
that's one question, like, of all the questions for Rebecca Yarros, I really want to know, like, what happens. So I'd like her, if possible, to just have Violet ask Sawyer, what happened last year? Did you stay around?
Yeah.
Because I just really want to know.
He didn't say anything about it.
He doesn't say anything. Does he go home? Does he stay? I think he'd stay. I think he'd just get the shit jobs. So Sawyer was just like mopping floors.
Yeah, but
like Filch in Harry Potter, where he's not a wizard, so all he is just clean up after all the students.
Yeah, but they are there to learn, so not for work. So they do stuff that the student has to do. But there's stuff that they're not able to do anymore. Like, they can't go to flying lessons. They can't go to, like, learn how to control the signet or other stuff.
Why do you think Sawyer was so good at the gauntlet? He didn't just do it 10 times last year, did he?
I don't know,
and then
because
10 times this year.
he learned what skills he need to do to pass that. So he can go home and just do a kind of like a representation of that, or no, like, okay, I need to be good on this.
But you can still do sparring. You can still do, and you're given another chance. But you wouldn't. There could, like, it's really unlikely that you survive, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Another year because of sparring, because of all the danger. Anyway, just a question. Just really want to know what they do.
Yeah, but you know that Sawyer, he did really good, and he was like the best into Violet's group, but he wasn't the best from all of them.
No.
The best was Liam.
Liam
Was the first year.
You don't even know anything about Liam Murray yet, and you're going to really like him.
It's been 2 times in the whole book when he's been mentioned. That's it. So,
he's one of my favourite characters.
I had nothing against this guy, because so far we have information. The last bit is he's the best, basically the best from all the cadets, like physically, he's the best. But that's it. Okay, so yeah, the people that not be with dragons now, they do like the shitty jobs in the school, which is great, because you're like, oh shit, I didn't get a dragon, I had to do it next year. And apart, I need to clean.
No, I have to get up really early and make everything.
The kitchen, clean it, and do the stuff that nobody else wants to do.
Yeah. Why don't they have staff? Why not have dinner ladies? Why have dinner ladies?
I don't know. It's some military school, isn't it? So they're showing like discipline and
I guess when you're in the field as well, you have to do everything.
Yeah, you need to learn how to be efficient and independent.
And later on, actually, it does say there's one of the epigraphs again, which is no, it's not an epigraph. It's when she's trying to keep herself calm. She says there's a Navarian outpost outside of the wards, and they must be staffed by military personnel and not civilians that accompany them.
Yes.
So anyway, sorry, just another bit of extra foreshadowing there.
Yes. So Violet recalls her new room. Then she found out that a few people had been celebrating. Between those people is Ray and Sawyer. Actually, I get surprised because I thought Ray was more with
into girls.
Yeah. But really she's just...
Same as Riddick.
Yeah.
Into both. I was going to say that at the end of this episode, if it's not too late, because it's already been nearly an hour, then we will put Ree and Sawyer on the mat together to see who would win.
Yes, I would like to see that too. Okay, so there will be people celebrating. Then we found out that when they had the mark, well, Rita have it in the arm. Ree, she didn't want to say where she have it, but has to be in a private part.
Yeah, where do you think
part.
it is?
Something tell me there's like kind of in the bum or in the leg, like really
Yeah, I think it's on her inner thigh.
in the thigh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You think it's on her bum. Maybe we'll find out one day.
Yeah.
I imagined it to be on her inner thigh.
I mean, if there's like a sex scene with her, we might find out.
Maybe.
Yes.
But we've only had Violet's point of view so far. We get some of Zayden's point of view, so it would have to be with Zayden or Violet or both.
Yes. And that is not the only thing that changed for Violet. Now she's been respect. So a lot of people, they don't even bother to talk to her or being around her now. They say hi to her. That she's been kind of now like the popular girl.
Yeah, it's like that cliche of an American canteen, isn't it? Where you've got the popular people and the...
Yeah, so basically she's like the cheerleader, boss or
Yeah, but
chief?
I went to school in England and I just had to sit where I was told. We didn't have any of this. You had a queue and you queued up and you went and got your food and then you had to sit down in the same order. So it was never the same. There wasn't this like clique situation.
Yes.
I never understood it in movies.
Okay, so now it's been some changes. So because it's more about the size of the dragon, so size matters obviously. Mm-hmm. So now there's like groups. There's been a shift, or what they say in one of the chapters, like
power shift.
Yeah, a balance now. And now Imogen is going to be close to Violet. Mm-hmm. Now she's going to help her training as well.
I liked Imogen's description of the power shift. She just called it a clusterfuck, didn't she?
Yeah.
She was like, the morning after is always a clusterfuck.
Yes.
Power shift.
Exactly. But this is another thing that for me, it was like, okay, Imogen, from all the details I have so far, it's like she's really loyal to Zayden. I don't know if it's because they're lovers or they were in some point, or she want to in the future. Or she just following orders, and she's kind of like a little bit like Dane. Whatever my superior tell me, that's what I'm gonna do, either if I agree or not. Because she was one of the ones who was saying when we're going to kill Sorangel, when they had this like clandestine meeting. And now I just said and told her, now you have to train her and to make sure that she survives like the flying lessons.
You find out a bit more about that, but it's not that important. It's not a major plot.
It's not like she is Zayden's sister or cousin or...
No. Zayden apparently doesn't have any siblings, but you know how I feel about Bodhi.
Yes, there's a part
Another
as well.
mention of how much Bodhi looks like Zayden.
Yes.
That to me
I
is
noticed
like
that
your
too.
magician thing. Like it's not, or maybe it's not even hiding it, is it? It's just obvious. Every time Bodhi's on the page, you get another.
He's
mention
so
of-
similar to Zayden, but Zayden is hotter.
Yeah,
Very much what she
but
said.
I think Bodhi's a softer, kinder version of what Zayden looks like.
Yeah, it's kind of like Zayden, Bodhi will be like the good guy, and Zayden is still more this bad guy vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah, obviously
Sexy bad
women
guy.
was always go for the bad guy.
I didn't.
Yeah.
Although I do feel like you could do quite a good cosplay of Zayden Ryzen. You'd be a bit old. Like you could do like
The father, maybe.
Zayden's dad. Well, no,
Zayden's dad.
he's dead. But Zayd, like when Zayden when he's older, Zayden when he's married with kids.
Yeah. Let us know in the comments if you want to see that. No, really.
Make you dress as Zayden and read some of Iron Flame. Anyway.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there was some shift in the power. now they have as well flying lessons, and Taryn is trying to help Violet with his magic, trying to put in the seed, but she doesn't. She doesn't want him to do that. He wants to be a rider, so she wants to learn the hard way. So he said, "Okay, have it your way," and she falls, and again, and again, and again.
12 times, something.
I think it was like 24 times the first week or something like that. And then after that, she just fell like 12 times.
Yeah.
So she's getting better.
It's good he's catching her.
Yes, but oh my god. I would be like so... Well, I don't know, like what is the skills of Taryn flying? They have to be flying really high because it's massive.
Yeah, you know, he's also training her harder than the others.
Yes, because he's training her for battle. He's not training to go
He's training her for
tricks.
battle, but even Dane is saying, even in battle, there's only griffins that you're going to be fighting, and they don't fly that high. So tell him to ease off a bit. It's not like there's another aerial threat that you need to be aware of.
And then he's mind your business.
Yeah.
Like, he know what he's doing.
Yeah.
That's another thing. They were like, okay, what this dragon now? We need to talk about it as well,
Yeah.
because there'll be
Oh my god, we're going to be here for ages. Next time we should probably just do 3 chapters. I honestly think we should do 3
Yes.
chapters. Although it's just going to be slower for you getting
I'll
to
make
the
it
end.
shorter. All the stuff that we're talking
No,
about.
because there's so much
restricted.
good stuff to talk about. We can't make it shorter. People can listen. People can pause and listen again. That's
Yeah,
fine.
come back another day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so, but yeah, what I was talking about, the time must be like flying really high because he must know that, yeah, she's going to fall. So I need to just have plenty room to go there, catching
How
her.
fast is
put it
it,
there.
Jeff?
It's,
I think she just slips off and he's like,
and then just like grab it from, yeah, I don't know if it's coming from the back leg or from the front, like bending and just grabbing her from the tail or something.
don't know. Anyway.
But it's like always the same. He just grab it, then just throw it and right to the back.
She must get whiplash.
Yes, but yeah, he's being like hard with her as well. And I don't know if it's because he knows something that's going on, and then he need to make sure that she's gonna be prepared, like physically, and gets to it to all the stuff that he can do, because that's the thing. She need to get to it to the way that he flies.
Maybe he's preparing her for another aerial threat.
Yeah, exactly. And that's gonna be another thing to talk, because yeah, it's not gonna be griffins. If it's like a flying menace, it's gonna be something worse, I think, than dragons. But that's gonna be a theory for
Worse
another
or
day.
better?
No, it's
You don't
if
know
I saw a menace or it's like something that's threatening and a bird, it's not gonna be griffins. It's gonna be like kind of dragons.
Go on. Say your theory.
I think we will see in some point these wyverns.
Wyvern.
Wyverns. Wyverns.
Wyvern.
Yes, and they're like dragons, but with 2 legs and bigger, apparently. And the description from the fables.
Yeah.
So I think that might be like one of the reasons they're just trying to
Prepare her
prepare
for
for that. Exactly.
that. Interesting theory. Right.
Yep.
Next.
What else we have?
Because I've got loads.
I think Zaydan's tell to Garrick as well about what's going on between Zaydan and Violet. They now they're what's the word? Traded or trade? When they're like kind of like bound together as well.
They're just bonded.
Yeah, I think there was a word for this, but kind of like linked.
Chained. Linked. Tethered.
Tethered. I think it's
Tethered,
tethered.
yeah.
Yes.
I
So
was just being a thesaurus there. So shouting out words that could mean the same.
yes. And then we start to see some new signets in this chapter as well. I think it's Emery that she said that she can control air. That's
Yeah.
another.
He.
I see. Emery.
Yeah,
Oh my
Emery's
gosh.
a he.
I'm so bad with their names. I need to.
So I didn't know. I didn't know until Riddick asks him a question,
Hmm.
and then you say she says he just ignored Riddick because obviously Riddick's not got a powerful enough dragon or something. The power shift isn't quite in Riddick's favour.
Yes.
You also get a bit of a clue about Quinn's signet. See her patch.
Queens.
Quinn has a patch that Violet notices, but she can't figure it out. So you could figure out Quinn's signet if you look at the patch. But the patches change every year. I thought that was really interesting.
Yes, which is getting like every year the signet gets stronger and then it can evolve, maybe. Or...
No, I mean, if you were, let's say you were, think of an example, an air wielder, you'd have a particular patch. But then the next year, another air wielder came, you'd have a different patch.
All right.
That's what I think it
the
means.
second one, or
Yeah, I don't know.
or the third one, or the original one.
But she's got 2 silhouettes on her patch.
So maybe it's stronger. I don't know.
No, it symbolises what her signet is. But you find it out later. I think in the next set of chapters.
Okay.
If we do 5, anyway. Anything else?
No, that's it from me.
Right, 2 things. Epigraph. I am like queen of epigraphs. The more powerful the dragon, the more powerful the signet. That's
Yes.
foreshadowing. Obviously, she says, Imogen says Vi is about to be the most powerful rider in the quadrant. She's got a very
She's got 2
powerful dragon.
dragons.
Which she's got, even if she just had 10, he's...
Yeah, she's the most powerful dragon.
Yeah.
A part of what's the name of the general? Kohan?
Melgrit. Coda.
Koda. Yeah.
So, you know that when Violet manifests, her signet is going to be some
gonna
serious
be-
shit.
yes.
Really powerful. And then it also says, beware of a strong rider who bonds a smaller dragon. That would be Jack Barlow, wouldn't it?
Yes.
Okay, right. Just looking through my notes. So they're the Iron Squad, which means they've got the most surviving members since Parapet. That means Dane gets to keep his squad, but they go down to 2 squads in each section now.
Yes.
Which means some squad leaders lose their rank, which would be a bit shit, wouldn't it? You'd be a squad leader one day, and then you lose your... But that's an incentive for as a squad leader, to strengthen your squad and make sure that they all stay alive. And
Yeah.
I don't know if you notice a feeling, and I'm not going to tell you what it is, but I would like you to be on the lookout for it from now on. A feeling that Violet gets every time Xaden is around her.
A feeling. I mean, she's always talking about like the way he make her feel, but for me it's more like obviously she fancy him. But and the way that you're saying now is more
No,
like
there's a specific
something.
feeling, which is really interesting. It seems to always be the case. Anyway,
I mean, it could be just because obviously now they're like linked together. So I don't know if maybe at some point they're gonna be able to share those as well, like they do with the dragons. Because there's a part where Tarn is able to talk directly to Xaden.
I think any dragon can speak to any rider, they just don't.
Yeah.
Because it's generally forbidden. But yeah, he does speak to him.
Yeah.
I thought, so there's a couple of things. 92 riders, the smallest class today. Another hint that less dragons are bonding.
Yeah.
There's a bit where it says 10 is an upfront kind of guy, so he likes to fly at the front of a formation.
Yes.
And they have a discussion about gods and how June, the goddess of strength and war, Violet's going to go and pray to June. And then we hear that dragons pay no heed to your puny gods. And I thought that was interesting. I think we're going to learn maybe...
If the dragons have any kind of gods or
I don't...
something
Yeah,
else to
maybe. I don't know
believe.
if they do, but I thought we're going to learn more about the gods and why dragons think they're puny and they're not actually gods. So I'm really interested in Malak. There's a book that says how... there was an epigraph somewhere again, queen of epigraphs, but there was an epigraph that said There's a book called How to Appease the Gods, and it talks about Malak and burning things. I'm really interested in Malak. I'm really interested in Dune. There's the goddess of luck, and I can't remember the name. But anyway, there's various gods. I'm really interested in them. I think there's a reason why dragons think they're puny. Possibly there's a story in history, but we don't know that yet. Maybe it's not interesting.
Maybe they know the truth.
Yeah, there's a hint there that Gleen, the dragon, chose poorly. He never bonds strongly. His rider fell from his back and will later bond with Caroline Ashton.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, just a bit more about Dane, and when he comes to talk to Violet after the kiss, and he still he assumes that she still likes him, but
it can't be because he has this like career to chase.
Yeah, and it's all about him, and he's the important one, and it's his career. And he doesn't even consider that Violet has a different opinion. Like, she actually doesn't feel that, and she doesn't want to be with him.
Yes.
So she's lost a bit of respect for him because of that. And then there's just a bit of jealousy over Imogen. So Violet's really starting to fall hard for
Zayden.
Shadow Zaddy.
Yeah, I guess now finally she realized that he's not going to kill her.
Oh, yeah, but she still goes backwards and forwards. She can't get it, can she? Right, chapter 18, otherwise we're going to be here all night.
Okay, chapter 18. I think this one has like few like gems hiding there. But I'm going to start with my first reaction. This when we finally meet this Yesenia. It's from the like first page of the book that she's like the one who transcribed all the stuff. Like, oh, finally. And turns out she was like a really good friend of Violet when they were studying together for being a scribe. And Violet was like somebody really important for Yesenia to get in where she is. And when Violet asked her how it is, it's exactly what you wanted. Oh, yes, exactly what I wanted. And again, Violet is asking for this book, The Fables of Baron. And she mentioned this book, or not specifically the book, but at least like the stories about it before. So it's been a couple of times that these fables come to light. And there's something I think on this particular book, because like I said before, as a writer you need to give just like enough to say, and then just try to hide how you made the trick. But it's like maybe the third time that this book is coming. She's looking for this book, Yesenia can't find it. And there's like two reasons. That's because the book is really rare, or just because it's forbidden. It shouldn't be there. So Violet is think about it, the house from one folklore is like forbidden and in this library. So that for me made me think like, okay, so maybe this fabulous actually it's not like folklore. It's actually something not true about
folklore. It's not folklore, yeah.
Yes. So I think maybe there's some true about all these stories.
Yeah.
And it's something that we will see in next episodes or next storyline.
Yeah. One thing I'm not sure about, and I'd really like to hear people's opinion on this because I'm missing something. Why did Violet's dad not tell her that she should be secretive about this book? Because he knew that it was. Did he know? He knew that it wasn't anywhere to be seen in the archives. So, but she's just like banding it around. She's mentioned it to Ree. She's mentioned it to Mira. Like she's mentioned it to everyone. She's like, Dad gave me this book. Dad gave me this book. Dad gave me this book. Dad's gonna get in trouble if he finds out, and that actually could be the reason why he got in trouble, because Violet was spouting her mouth off about this amazing fables book that he should never have had. Because you know how serious scribes are about breaking rules and taking books out of libraries and making sure that archives are complete.
Yeah, there's always with the original one or with a copy.
Yeah.
Or always with one of the books.
Yeah.
So definitely there's something going on about this book. So I generally think there's something that we will see in the story, in the storyline. I don't know if it's gonna be in this book, but either in Iron Flame or in Onyx Storm, something related to this specific book, it will come to light, and then we'll find out a little bit more about this Baron. So that's one of the things that caught my attention. Then she feel like homesick as well. So that was like made me think as well like why she's a writer, because obviously she was a student, like properly student for be a scribe. Her father was a scribe, so she was preparing for the scribe. And just 6 months before the parapet test or the conscript day, she's been told that she's gonna be a writer. Why the mother waits like just basically last minute to tell her that she has to be a writer when she's been all time? And she said that all her life she's been living basically in Basgard and like
No, he
studying
lived
or
other places.
yeah, but like a student or preparing for being a scribe. She been destined to be a scribe, and just 6 months before, even for somebody that wants to be a writer, there's not enough time
There's
to
a
prepare.
reason. There's a reason. You find it out.
Okay, but that is something that was made me think. This book as well is talking about the wyverns as well. So, like I said before, I think that's something that is true, and we will see eventually happening. These massive creatures coming to, I don't know if it's to attack or something, which is gonna be something curious because the dragons are already really big for me, and this wyvern is like bigger than a dragon. I think according with the description.
The dragons are taller than the bookshelves in the archives.
Yes,
They're
that's another fact.
20 foot. They're on average 5 feet taller than the archives.
Yes, so you can't fit a dragon in the
When-
archives or
When I
the
read
scribes.
that, and then it talks. This chapter also mentions that some cadets don't even slide down the leg; they just jump off the top of the dragon. It's like jumping off a fucking building.
Yeah, it's like five levels or something like that. If I
know.
use something like that.
Can we do
It's
this?
just-
We need to do this in meters and centimeters.
But still, it's like again, like these dragons are just massive, and then now this wyvern are gonna be even bigger than that.
Wait, it's 4 of you.
4.
4 of you. You're about 6 foot something, aren't you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, and
So
6'1", I think, something
4
like
of
that.
you would be 24 foot.
Yeah,
So if you stood on your head,
4
No, wait.
times. It's
Yeah.
gonna be like
if another one of you stood on your head and another one, there'll be 4 of you, and you still wouldn't be as tall as the average dragon.
exactly.
Anyway, let's not get into this again.
Yes.
We can imagine they're smaller, can't we?
Yes. The other thing I found interesting is that this wyvern, besides of being bigger than a dragon, they like to eat humans as well. They're not like the dragon, they don't
I
like
think we're
human
a bit
meat.
gamey.
Yeah. So they try, obviously. They don't like it. But the wyvern
Well,
like
that's
it.
the folklore, isn't it? And they only say that because they want your kids to be scared.
Yes, but
I don't think
what
we've
about if
ever
it's not?
threatened our children. Imagine. I don't think we've ever threatened our
Gonna be
children.
a
It's like,
creature here that's going to eat you.
yeah, eat your vegetables, or you'll get eaten by a giant, terrifying dragon with only without arms.
Yeah, but they're so big that no even going to notice they eat you. It's gonna be like when you run in there, you get like a fly or
Yeah,
something
fly,
in the
right.
mouth. Like, what's this?
Right. Let's not threaten our children. If
Okay.
they don't eat their vegetables. If they don't eat their vegetarians.
Yes. So, anyway, bullet point. Something's going on about that book,
Okay.
and we will find out later on.
I get it.
I don't know. In this book or next one, probably you're just laughing right now, like I know what's going on, and or maybe not.
Well,
I
I
don't
only
know.
know what happens to the end of Iron Flame, and I'm still clinging on tight to that cliffhanger that Rebecca Yarros has left us on. This is the only way that I can stop panicking about what's going to happen in Onyx Storm.
Yeah.
By
Just
going back
and
yeah.
analyze and
I know,
everything.
but I've been reading other books as well. I can't stop reading books.
Yes. So after that, we had a new segment as well. So you're showing now that he's a metallurgist.
We have a what?
New signet.
Oh, new signet, yeah. Sawyer.
Yeah.
It's the first one.
Yes, the first one to manifest, and it's a cool one as well. So he can control everything made of metal, I guess.
Yeah, but he can't really control it right now because he's worried that his fork is going to
He's gonna
stab
kill him.
Yeah.
Yes, but
He should eat with chopsticks. Just get him some chopsticks. Be fine.
yeah, I think he's probably the one who's going to just give you a wooden spoon.
A wooden fork, yeah.
Yeah, a wooden pot. Then start between Dan and Violet getting worse and worse. But I think by this point it's obvious that now Violet is not feeling it at all for him. It's always like, yeah, he's been my best friend, he's been the boy from next door, the one who something could happen at any time, but now for her it's like, no, this guy is just, he doesn't believe on me, he just like, he's an obstacle right now.
Yeah. This argument is peak Dane twattery.
Yeah.
I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 bullet points about this argument. Do you
Yeah.
want me to wait or do you want me to go into it now?
Go ahead.
So he says, I just want to help you, Vi. He's not helping her at all. He's holding her back. He's basically saying, you need a desk job, blah, blah, blah. What I like about her is she says, my thighs are weak, but I'm building muscle. My hands can't grip the pommel, but they're getting stronger. So she's counteracting every single perceived weakness with a development, or with how she's developing, how much progress she's making. And that's like that classic age-old, what's your biggest weakness? Question in an interview. And everyone says, well, don't pretend you've not got a weakness. Say something like, oh, I'm just really care about deadlines. I just really like to deliver. You know, that's not a weakness. That's you pretending that you've
I'm a
weakness
perfectionist.
that your positive's a weakness. But actually, admit you've got a weakness, but tell them how you're working on it, and say, I'm not exactly there yet, but I'm developing and I'm doing X, Y, Z to do it. And that's exactly what she's doing. She's just showing
She's
him.
aware about what are her flaws,
But she's working on
doing
them.
something about it
Exactly.
as well. I completely understand like what was Dean's point of view, like from day one when he saw her like the first time after the parapet, and then you know that she's supposed to be a scribe, now she's dead, and then you know like all the stuff that she need to go through, and you think no, she's not going to do it. So I understand like, okay, from that time, yeah, he might be feeling like they like, no, you can't
Yeah,
be
she
here.
didn't believe she could do it either, did
Yeah,
she?
exactly.
But now
So
she's
he was
believing it.
like, okay, I'm gonna help you. I'm going to do something trying to help you. But now that she's been so far, they even people they want to be writers from all the time. They didn't make it, and she's there. She's still there. And she now, like you say, she believes in herself now. If he's a really good friend, he should see that.
Yeah.
But he never is around, and it's always like blaming her. Why you didn't tell me? Why you didn't tell me? Well, it's because you don't believe anything that she says.
Yeah.
You just don't believe that she's stronger enough for carrying on with the stuff that she's struggling with.
Yeah.
He just is like, no, don't do it. Just go back to the
Run
scribes.
away, yeah.
Yeah.
She's he also says Xaden doesn't have her best interests at heart. He does actually. The person who doesn't have Violet's best interests at heart is Dane Atos in this moment, because he just wants her to go. She's happy. So she tells Jacinia later that she's really happy where she is, the relationship she's got with her friends, the way it feels to soar on Ten's back, the gentle nudges from Andana to keep going when her muscles might give in while she's training with Imogen. The fact that she's just made the best friends ever. She's happy there, and she tells Jacinia she's happy there. But Dane does not get that. He's also not questioning Amber's integrity when, because he mentions it again, he's basically saying that there's a right way and a wrong way to get up the gauntlet, and he brings that up again, and he basically says whether or not you did it the right or the wrong way. When he says that, he just admits that he thinks she's done it the wrong way. He does my head in. But he says, I'm not questioning Amber's integrity because she's a wing leader, but he always questions Zayden's, and that's because he's jealous of him. Or because I feel like I wasn't sure whether he doesn't like Xaden because he's Tyrish and because of the rebellion, and he's got some prejudice there, because you do see some prejudice from the new squad mates that come across. They don't even sit with them at lunch because they don't like Imogen. So, but I do genuinely think it's jealousy, or it's because he doesn't like Xaden, not because he's prejudiced. I don't, because he doesn't treat Imogen badly, does he? Anyway, that's not the argument. I love it when she says, you're about to be some of the bullshit that this place cuts away from me. And she's had it with someone who's so focused on the least that she's capable of doing, and he can't believe that she can do so much more. And one of the best lines in the book is when she says, I take a step closer to him, because she wants to tell him, like, to her face, but so she takes a step closer to him, but the distance between them gets bigger. I think that's really clever writing, because you can have an argument and you can get so close to somebody's face, but actually your distance is worlds apart.
Yes.
That's it. I'm going to breathe now, but Dane Atos.
It's something going on with the way that he is always like defending Amber, and it's like whatever she say is...
Yeah, because they were sleeping with each other all of last year.
Yeah, I guess it must be that, but it's not because he always saying that, oh, I will do everything just to follow the rules, even sacrifice my own friend if I have to. But then when it's about Amber, yeah, it's not the same way that he looks at Zayden, and Zayden is a wing leader as well. So it's a massive difference how he thinks and treats Zayden, the way how he thinks and talks about Amber. They're two wing leaders, so if he actually follow the rules, they're like his karma or his way.
I think it's a combination of the two. He really likes Amber because they're like rule buddies, and they were sleeping with each other the whole of last year.
Yes.
But also he hates Xaden, and now he hates him even more because he's tethered to Violet, so he's a bit jealous of that as well. And he knows that Violet's starting to like... I think it'll be obvious that Violet's starting to like him. And
yeah. Maybe he knows because he's constantly touching his face, so maybe he can see how she's just fancy him every time he's around.
Maybe.
So, yeah. But... one other thing that I found like really funny, or you can see there's something changed in Violet, because in the beginning she was maybe like, okay, I know I agree what he's saying, but I'm just going to smile and say, yeah, you're right, or whatever. Now it's like, no, fuck off.
Yeah.
I know what I'm doing. Just leave me alone. And then when she just go away and see Zayden like on the wall, and Zayden like lifting her eyebrow. And because she's just walking, like showing the finger. I can just think like Zayden just there, like thinking, what the fuck?
I know, he's 2 ranks above her.
Yeah,
and she
exactly.
just like is giving him the middle finger.
What's wrong with her?
Like, I can't deal with his bullshit today either.
yeah, just because. But it's in this moment when then we start to see another signet happening, and this is Jeremiah. And Jeremiah start to just listen to all the thoughts of everyone. That's something that I don't know if that would be that dramatic if I just suddenly you start to really hear like so many voices at the same time, and you start to realize that, oh shit, I'm able to listen to people's thoughts. You will be like, oh, make a stop.
Sometimes, so I was thinking about this, and then I was like, sometimes I've got one child asking me for something, the next one's talking over the other one and saying, "Mummy, mummy, mummy," and I'm saying, just let them talk, and they're like asking for the same thing over and over, and then you say something, and I just go, "Make it stop," because with children you do hear their thoughts, don't you? Because they just say what they think.
Yes.
But they talk over each other, and I don't know how teachers do it, because you must feel like you're mind reading. I think I would act the same way as Jeremiah, although I might be a bit more intelligent and try and hide it, because if you're in intrinsic, you
know that you will die.
Have to try and hide it. Yeah, you know you'd die. So what would you do? You'd have to pretend that maybe you needed to touch someone's face every
Back to
time.
the old topic.
Yeah. Otherwise you get killed.
Yes. But yeah, and the way that it manifests, I thought, okay, that's a little bit like dramatic, but I don't know, maybe it's because there was so many people around, everyone talking at the same time too, and you start to maybe just get crazy because you don't know what's going on, or maybe they're talking too loud and it's just in your head. And yeah, so we see now this new professor that comes to stop everything.
Professor
and that's
Kaori.
Professor Kaori. Yes, that's gonna be kind of, for me, like the feeling I got is like Snape from Harry Potter. There's just a teacher that you need to, like, you don't mess around with this one. And it's like somebody that you just like, oh shit. Show respect, minimum.
Yeah.
Not like fear, or I don't know yet, but I mean, he went straight away to just crack the neck of this guy.
He's not a great person, but he's not the worst professor that we meet in the series. There's an Umbridge type character in the next book.
Yes.
So I thought Jeremiah was a really interesting name. I'm not remotely up on my biblical references, but I remembered there being a Jeremiah, so I googled it. And Jeremiah was basically the guy who determined whether people had faith in God or not.
Yes.
So he needed to know whether they trusted and had faith in God. And I thought that was quite an interesting thing, because that's obviously Jeremiah had a need to know the truth, or a need to know something, because that's what manifested that intrinsic ability.
Yeah.
And I just thought Jeremiah was an interesting name, because there's obviously a biblical link there.
Yeah, maybe it was inspiration. Something maybe, I don't know if I would see Rebecca Yarros talking about it, maybe saying like, yeah, that was...
I don't know.
Why not? Yeah.
But that whole scene is really cool, because Xaden's shadows...
Because he was reading Garrick's secret, or Garrick's mind, and it's been a couple of times that they're escaping. So something's going on with Xaden, Garrick, and the other ones as well. At this point, I can't tell if it's just like official Basquiat affairs, or is something between them they're doing. But they're doing something, I don't know if a dodgy, it's a secret, obviously, and it's something that when Gary noticed, if somebody that people found out, they would be in trouble. That's why Xaden went to control this guy with the shadows.
Yeah.
Yes. But what is it? I don't know. They're like 50-50. It's gonna be dodgy, or it's gonna be they working for Basquiat, because Xaden is a wing leader, so he's maybe doing some
Third wing missions.
Yeah, exactly. Just doing something special for intelligence, or something related to the walls failing, or this kind of stuff. Or it's just him being the son of his father and start to like building his own army or his own stuff to take revenge against the Never. But it's something that I'm guessing we will find out later on.
Yep.
Yep.
Well, yeah.
Yes. But okay, that was really interesting to see how the intrinsic. Yes.
Easy.
Yeah, easy. How it manifests. Intrinsic
No,
manifest.
intrinsic.
Intrinsic.
Yeah.
There we go.
I've been a thesaurus and a pronunciation guide. So.
Yes. What else we have about this? I think from this scene, that's it. The end of the scene is just, I think it was Sawyer saying, and that was Professor Kaori. That the end of the scene. And then we go to another one. There's like Violet. She being little, and she's dreaming with his dad. One thing that his dad's telling her, you need to find like the source of your information, which I think is really interesting thing, because basically it's telling us from the story that we have, maybe the fables there is gonna be like one of them that you need to look at your source to find out what is this book about or what's going on
Who's
about
telling
this
the
book.
story? Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And then it's when we start to, it's like we don't know what's going on, but then we start to hear wake, wake, wake. So like,
Oh, you
yeah,
did a
it's
deep
dream.
voice for 10. Not wake.
Yeah. Wake. You're awake. And then that moment when all these unbonding guys, they go into the room. She said there are 7 unbonding. Then she recognized one of them. And then it said 6 unbonding. And then the other one just run away. I had to go back to that a couple of times because I was like, did I miss the name? It's like, do we know who was? But no, obviously that was something for next chapters. But when she was fighting and then Ten was telling her like, you need to fight, and telling what was going on, I found it really curious that he knew something was going on before it happened. And for me, I was like, how did he find out?
Yeah.
Because she was sleeping. She was dreaming in her bedroom that was locked. Then Amber, well, spoiler alert now.
It's in the
For the
same
next
show.
10 minutes.
10 minutes.
Well.
We are really, really talkative.
They came to the room and he was trying to waken up because by the time that she's away, they were just like going in. So obviously he was trying before.
Yeah.
So how did he
How
find
does he
out?
know?
Yeah, can he see the future as well, or can
I think
he
he can
predict?
sense. I think he can sense danger around her. I think that's all there is to it. But it is an interesting question because we know that dragons can see. We know that riders can see through dragons' eyes. Dragons can possibly see through riders' eyes, but her eyes are closed. So I don't know.
And even if they were open, they were just the wrong because she was dreaming, and there was a couple of times when he was saying wake,
Yeah.
wake, and then when they got in to attack, he said help, it's coming,
Wake.
or somebody is coming
He's
to
gonna
help.
wake or you'll die.
Yeah, he's not-
Wait before you die or something like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's like he's really far away. He knows that he can't help physically, but he knows as well that the Satan
Yeah.
is going to help. So he said that it won't be far. And she was asking who. And she has to fight. And then when time frozen, I thought, oh shit, that's the signet. That's what I thought. Yeah, oh my gosh, she can stop time. That's so cool. And then next chapter, like, oh, it wasn't that.
No.
Wah, 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 wah.
It's not the last you see of it, though. Right.
Yes, so that will be the end of chapter 18.
Do you know what I want to talk about? What could be the first thing that I would want to talk about?
About chapter 18,
Uh,
the
epigraph.
epigraph, yes.
Right.
Try to win that war.
Temples can be rebuilt, but books cannot be rewritten. Well, they can actually be rewritten, but anyway.
It's more about knowledge, isn't it? If our knowledge is lost, then
Yeah.
it's lost forever. Yeah.
We do not know Violet's dad's name.
No.
We just call him Dad, her father, Mr. Sorengale.
Yes.
the epigraph is taken from a book, The Guide to the Scribe Quadrant or something.
Yes.
By Colonel Daxton. Is it Colonel Daxton Soaringale? Is Daxton his first name? I don't know. But that book is mentioned.
Do we know the rank of his father?
Her father, no.
Yeah.
It is... No, it's unknown.
There's not a colonel or general. Because the biggest one, or the one with major rank, is Louis... how is it called? Louis Marshall? Marshall?
General Mark.
General.
Is he Colonel
It is
Markham?
colonel.
Colonel Markham. Yeah, maybe.
Yes. So I wasn't sure if he was like the same rank.
I would imagine he was quite high ranking.
Yeah, because the wife was a general.
Yeah.
And the writers.
Well, no, you don't get a high rank just because your wife's got a high rank.
No, but I mean, you will expect them. They will have like something like same mentality, or even when they're in completely different squadron. But
I noted that she's happy as a rider and she's getting less and less of a pang to be a scribe, which I think is quite nice. It's really good to hear that she's already happy. We learn more about scribes, so no emotion, nothing's more important than the books. But we also learn that they're not only there just to record history and look after the books, they also speed information from the front lines to battle briefs. So everything that the riders hear in battle brief comes from the front lines, which is kind of brought by scribes, which I think is an interesting... They're kind of journalists as well as librarians. So there is a quote that you didn't pick up on, which I thought was really interesting. Andana cuts into that conversation when she's starting to feel like the scribe quadrant is her home.
Yeah, well, I was about to say something about it when you were talking about that she was feeling happy. I was about to say that well, even Andana say like, oh, you feeling like homesick, or you feeling bad about that's not your home, and then Violet said, well, it's usually when your second home is like
the right one. But Andana said it's hard to love a second home as much as the first. Is Andana speaking from experience?
Yeah,
that's what I was going to ask you. Yeah, I mentioned a little bit about prejudice against the marked ones. I think that's Rebecca Yarros building the world and kind of making you see that life actually for a marked one isn't that easy. You're treated like a traitor still, even though it was your parents. Nobody knows anything about why they were rebelling. So you're treated quite badly as a marked one, and I think you start to see a few instances of that in this chapter.
Yes.
There's a few things that I feel like are foreshadowing. One of the biggest dangers to dragons are the small things that get between their scales and cause infection. That to me feels ominous. Is one of the dragons going to have something that causes an infection? Maybe.
Yeah, somebody's not going to pay attention to the dragon.
Yeah. Ten doesn't like Dane, which I like. Ten's on my side.
Yes.
And Ten gives Violet some sass about Xaden. He says, I could call you violent, like the wing leader. Right, then there's the argument.
Yeah. That was like a really good scene for me as well, like how he was like kind of like just pulling her a little bit about how she feels about him. And she was like, no, like how he's annoying for me. Like, oh yeah, I can tell you like how your heart beats every time that he is like closer. So he knows that she likes him, and he just maybe just teasing a little bit. That's why I think that he shouldn't have that like monster voice. She had like more like, for me, like the perfect voice for him would be like somebody like Earl Jones. The guy who does Mufasa from The Lion King. There's like a deep voice,
but funny.
But at the same time, he could be like a king. Because, come on, Tern is the biggest one, so he is like a king.
Well, he's not as big as Coda,
but Kodak is always with the general, so he won't be like all the time with the other dragons. I think Tern is always with the other dragons as well.
For now.
Yes. And he's had these moments as well when he could be like a father, because he's been out a couple of times where he turned tail to Violet that she's worth it.
Yeah.
There's more than thing about her that she can't see, but she's worth it. So it's like a father. And at the same time, he could be funny.
Yeah.
So it has to be like a voice that can be like versatile. They can go through one extreme to the another one.
Yeah.
And if you always had this like raspy voice, like kind of like a monster, it just doesn't sound.
Yeah, I know
for
what you
me.
mean. I know
Yeah.
what you mean.
Okay, anything else?
No, chapter 19.
Chapter 19. Let's rush it now, really.
No, we're not. We probably should read less chapters.
Or talk less.
Yeah, maybe.
So, chapter 19 starts straight away with Violet escaping. So she starts to realize that everyone is frozen. There's no like they turn into a status. There's just that the time has been frozen. And she realizes Andarna the one is doing it. She doesn't know like exactly what she's doing, but she's doing it. So she tried to go to the door, and then she sees Zaydan with the shadows coming from here, like an angel.
That's going to be so good in the TV series.
Yeah, it's gonna be like wings, and like dark wings coming from his back, maybe,
I'm going to
or
read
something.
it. I'm going to read it. Zaydan fills the doorway like some kind of dark, avenging angel, the messenger of the Queen of the Gods. He's fully dressed, his face a mask of veritable rage, as shadows curl from the walls on either side of him, hanging in midair.
Yeah.
It's so cool because it's frozen, but I'd like...
Yeah, the shadows even
so the
frozen as
shadows
well.
are frozen.
Everything's
it's gonna
frozen.
Look so good. And he's an
Yes.
absolute babe, so it's going to be even better.
So I think that scene is gonna be really nice when everyone like start to move and they realize that he's in, and then Ryerson, oh, you are dead.
She talks about his onyx eyes.
Yes, it's when it start to say a little bit like reference about Onyx.
Yeah.
Onyx Storm. It's gonna be interesting. But yeah, basically Zaydan killed them, all of them in one go, easily with the shadows. He started to show as well care for Violet. He started to checking that she's alright. At this point, you can't tell exactly if it's just because he knows that if something happened to her, it will happen to him. So he appreciates his life, as he mentioned, just because he started to develop feelings for her, because he's been like kind of like, I think he's been in her side from the beginning, because he's been telling stuff that she know that it's like annoying that he's telling this stuff, but he actually is right. At some point, she is always like, Zaydan is right, Zaydan is right. So it's been like months together with this kind of like sexual tension maybe or whatever. And now is when I think you start to see Zaydan actually showing that he cares about her.
Yeah.
And that's when he found out as well that she's wearing this vest made with dragon scales. And then is when they start to going to find the dragons to find out what's going on. Which I thought in the beginning was weird when Taryn was talking directly to Zaydan. And I was like, why? If Taryn can talk directly to Zaydan, why he has to go like all the school to the outside?
The flight field, yeah.
Yes, if they can do it, but maybe they decided to do it just when he was in front. And then is when it's like there was a couple of things before it was confirmed that Andarna was actually like a baby dragon. There was like, oh my god, how did like did their connections? There was a baby dragon.
Well, you were kind of told that it wasn't.
There was reference like nobody has seen like a baby dragon before, and then like dragon tails are really rare because they're always in like in the veil and they never bond with people.
Yeah.
So like you didn't clear like the relationship. They never seen the baby dragons, and then white feather tails they never bond with anybody else. And when it was confirmed that, I think it's something that she said that I'm still a feather tail. So we're like, it's a baby.
Yeah.
So it's a state. It's not like a species. And then we're like, oh my God, this turning and it's a girl's baby. That's why they're like together. And then it's like, no, I will never let my offspring born so young. So all right, so it's not. And then say that as well, like, you had a baby dragon this year, you didn't tell me.
Yeah, but you can also deduce from the previous chapter that Andana came from somewhere else.
Yeah.
Because this is her second home.
Yes.
Why are Sigale and Tern mates, but they haven't had a baby? Maybe they have had a baby previously.
I don't know how it works for dragons. Has to be always like between the same color to have like a baby.
It's probably like cats in it, where you have
They just get like
a litter of mix. They're not mixed, are they? No, they're a particular breed. So you can have a tabby and a tortoiseshell, and you'll get half the litter of tabbies and half the. I'm acting like I'm an expert here. I'm not. I'm just guessing. I don't know if that's true, but you see them, you don't see like a mix of a tortoiseshell and a tabby. I think it's just that. But mate in any animal sense, or in any animal breed, you mate because
they're partners.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, you mate because you have babies, not because you're partners. But they are partners, obviously. I just wonder why Sigale and Ten don't have a baby.
Maybe they did.
Yeah, or maybe they will. They get it on.
They said that they'll be in like years together, because I think it's something that they say that everyone know that they're like the bonding or the center or something like that.
Yeah.
So maybe they actually have dragons. Maybe they are grown-ups now, and they're just not talking about it. So that we had two kids, but there's two kids.
The blue ones and the black ones are rare. Anyway.
Yeah, but they will have a blue and a black one. What happened if they have like half blue, half black, like
I don't
patchy?
think you can. That's what I mean. I'm talking about cats. Well, I don't know. I don't know anything about the breeding habits of dragons.
Something else to ask to Rebecca Yaros.
Yeah, maybe we'll find out.
Between dragons, yeah. Something interesting as well was Satan was there just minutes after everything started, and he was already ready with the sword and with the uniform. And even Violet mentioned it, that he's already with everything, and it's 2 a.m. or something like that. So like, okay, so it's having again these meetings that he has, but where he's going, it's still a mystery so far. What else? We found out, the Andarna is a baby. She can give the gift to Violet directly. She can have it, but then if she abuses that power, Andarna will die.
And then
Violet
will die, and then Ten will die, and
no,
then Sigale will die.
What happened actually if Andarna dies? Because she's still born to 10, so she was still alive, isn't it?
Good point, yeah.
So, I think she wasn't right when she said that will kill us. Because I think it's Andarna the one who said that if you use it too much, that will kill us. And I know that you won't do it. But she tells to Satan as well, and Satan is like, shit. Like, it's like one of the biggest power. I don't know if he's planning already what he can do with that. So far,
He can't do anything with it.
No, has to tell to Violet to do it. But anyway.
It's only for tiny amounts of time.
Yeah, but sometimes that's only what you need.
Yeah.
And The only thing they said is like, okay, we're not going to tell to anyone about this. Only us knows about what was going on. And eventually, Andarna, in 1 year, she will be a full-grown adult, and that power it probably will be missed. It will change for something else. So it's no point to like be too dramatic about it, because in 1 year or something like that, it will change anyway. And okay, that was like the agreement they have, and then when they're going back to the school, Satan has to Violet, they need to find out how they managed to unlock the door, and she knows there was a rider, and he said, "Tell me who did it."
Yeah.
She does, and he believes.
Yeah.
And that's the end of the chapter.
Yeah. So if we take, like, going back to Andana, they talk about the fact that if leadership knew the secret, they would hunt the Feathertails. I can't see how they would hunt Feathertails, because they then become the riders, and it's quite clear the dragons make the rules. They just would refuse to bond. They'd incinerate them all if they hunted Feathertails. So I think that's a bit of a, like, fake argument.
Well, I guess it will be more like Jack Barlow. He wanted to kill Andana because he was small and because he thought he was weak.
Yeah, but that's not leadership.
No, but imagine if he knew the Andana had that kind of power, what he will do then? Because he was killing just for fun, basically.
Yeah, but
it has a reason.
Yeah, but he doesn't have a reason to kill. Has a reason to find one and bond with one. So I think Rebecca Yarros only put that phrase there, not because it's true, but she put that paragraph there to make you start to question the motivations of leadership.
Yeah.
So, what colour do you think? I'm going to make you cast your vote now. I know what colour I thought she was going to be at this stage.
Yes.
I'm not going to tell you whether I was right or wrong, but I'm going to tell you what that colour was when I was at the stage.
Yes.
And I'm interested to know what colour you think she's going to be.
Okay. You want me to tell first?
Yeah.
So I think when she is a full-grown dragon, she will be a blue dragon. The reason that I think she will be a blue dragon is because in the beginning, Sagel was like, oh, the most powerful, the most terrifying dragon. She was a blue one. Then we start to find out it'll be about 10, the black one. We had this massive black dragon that's bonded to Violet, the main character. And because she's the main character, she's now destined to be like the most powerful rider, just because 10. Then when we found out the golden one is a baby dragon, I think it will be super cool if she has a blue one as well, and the same size as a girl, kind of the same, basically like another girl, but just for her.
Yeah.
And then she had the 2 more powerful dragons just for her.
Yeah.
So that's my guess. Really, I don't know.
Yeah.
That's gonna be.
I do know, but I'm not going to confirm whether you are right or whether I was right or wrong at this time. But I also guessed that Andana would be blue. I believe that Sagale is the elder of her den. She is the most powerful blue dragon, I believe.
Yes.
So when we talk about the Empyrean, it's the most powerful dragon, or the oldest dragon of the den. And I believe Sagale might be that. Because she does what she wants. It's like she doesn't have an elder that tells her what to do. Ten perhaps does, he has Coda, but I think Ten's quite vicious and ferocious, and he does what he wants anyway. But I think it's quite a distinct characteristic of a blue dragon to not follow rules, and Andana quite clearly doesn't have a regard for rules. Yeah,
because she bonded to a rider when she's not supposed to do it.
And Ten says, I'm not sure anybody tells Andana to do anything.
Yes.
So I believed at that time as well that she would be blue.
Yeah.
I also thought that Sigale was quite possessive of her. Not possessive. protective of her.
That's why I thought
Yeah.
it was the father, because it's kind of like constantly.
The mother, yeah.
You mean Sigel? Ter.
No, yeah, okay. I was talking about Sigel.
Sigel would be like an auntie or something.
Yes.
To be honest. Yeah.
So my guess is the same as yours. We'll see if
I think
we're right.
Yeah, that's something it might be right, because I think Zayden mentioned in some point the Sigel is kind of like bonded to the golden dragon, or she really loves this
Yeah, she
blue
is
dragon.
fond. Says she's
Yes.
fond, like she just likes that.
And when she found out the golden dragon was in danger, she was the one who was asking to Terran for help. So I think Andarna is more linked to Sigel than to Terran.
Yeah, I feel like that. I feel like maybe, the question about why Ten and Sigel don't have a baby. Maybe they're infertile. Maybe they don't. Maybe they can't have one.
Yes.
And Sigel got attached to a particular feather tail.
Yes.
Yeah. So anyway, we'll see. You'll get to find out in the next book what colour Andarna is.
Okay.
So when we talk about relationships as well, in that kind of dynamic of the five character relationship, you've got 3 dragons and 2 riders. So Sigel can speak to Violet.
Yes.
In her head, she hears her.
Yes.
Violet can, I think Violet still speaks out loud on this page to Sigel. Zayden speaks out loud to Ten, but Ten can speak in Zayden's head.
Yes.
Zayden cannot hear Andarna, so that's an interesting. He's quite clearly not linked to Andarna, so the link to Violet is purely because of Sigel and
Terran.
Ten.
Yes.
Yeah. There was a really funny bit that I think that's, you pretty much picked up everyone, apart from a bit more of a clue that Violet is becoming hard to the fact that she's a rider, because she doesn't pity the riders that Zayden kills in her room.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of Iron Flame foreshadowing in this chapter. The epigraph, unedited history of Noir, I'm not going to go into it too much, but there's so much foreshadowing in that. Possibly one of the most foreshadowing packed chapter of the whole book. There is something in this chapter, and this is, I think, what I said at the start of the podcast, that I cannot believe we missed it. It is black and white. One of Zayden's secrets is there on the page.
Yeah.
In absolute black and white. It's so obvious. And I didn't get it.
Yeah.
But it's frustrating the second time you read it, because I'm like, ah! And I know there'll be so much stuff that's foreshadowing for Onyx Flame that I'll be exactly the same. I won't have picked it up. There's one of the bits that really shows me that Zayden's starting to like her, or has liked her. And this is just not what Dane... It's just such a contrast to what Dane would say. When he finds out she has dragon scale armour, she says, that's probably why I've lasted this long. And he said, I'd say there's multiple reasons why you've lasted that long.
Yes.
And I can think of several. That's foreshadowing a little bit. There's other reasons, but he genuinely believes that she can do it, and that's what I believe he really means by that statement, is that you're tough and you are clever and you know how to survive this place.
Yes.
And it's just, yeah. And then when they're going towards the tunnel, which is interesting, why does he know there's a secret tunnel? What does he use that for?
Well, he's using it every time he's going to escape, I think,
Yeah.
because it leads straight away to the flying field.
Exactly, and
So
nobody
the
knows
dragons
about
are
it.
there waiting for them.
He holds her hand as if they're a couple.
Yes.
And she says, why do you have to do this? Could you not just cover us in shadows or something? And
That
he
would be
says,
more
and a giant black
suspicious.
shadow going down the corridor. But do you think that would be more suspicious? Because wouldn't people look at Zayden and Violet and think, one, it draws so much attention. She is 2 ranks below him in his chain of command. That's frowned upon. But also, the leader of the rebellion's son with the girl whose mother killed her father.
Yeah.
Or his father. Oh, I'm getting mixed up. You know what I mean? Which
Yes.
would be more suspicious, but I did find that line funny, that because at that point you imagine a big black cloud.
Yeah, like a cartoon scene, just a black shadow or black cloud
Yeah.
just walking around.
Yeah, exactly. There's just so much foreshadowing in this chapter. I don't want to keep going because it's just
Yes.
so much, and I only realised this time I read it how much there is in this chapter. Chapter 20.
Chapter 20. So, a few things have changed since the meeting with the three dragons. Now, we had some changes in the team as well, because there have been 6 cadets. Well, cadets now. Yeah, cadets, because there were no riders, there were unbundled.
cadets.
They die. So some of the changes is now we have Lian. There's gonna be constantly with Violet, which she didn't like it because she knew straight away what Satan was doing. Basically, he was putting a bodyguard for her all the time. So he's going to sleep next to her. He's going to the library with her. He's going to go to every single class with her. He has a rebellion relic as well, which it means that he's gonna be like loyal to Satan, because Satan's kind of like a leader as well. So that's the character. It's like one of your favorites right now. Is just appearing here, so I'm guessing it's gonna be more from Lian later on. But that's not the main part about this chapter. The main part is that Satan believes her when she said the name of the person that by this time we didn't know who was. And then he goes to told to everyone and said what happened the night before. Said Violet was attacked for 6 unbonding people in her sleep, which is capital offense, and everything was organized by Amber. So he's calling Amber to defend herself, and then straight away like, no, that's not possible. I can't believe that she could do something like that. Violet telling that is not true, and for her was like painful. That here we go again. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what I saw, so obviously it's like can't believe anything about what I say. And again, he can like cool the hand, like trying to touch the face is what he's showing in the sentence, like
He's violating her memories.
Yes, let me see your memory, or give me your memory. I think that kind of like ordering, like give me your memory. And she can't, because so many things happened the night before that she can't share anything that she don't want to share anyway. So Satan don't give a shit if I have proofs or not. He just believe Violet, and then he just go through all of that when everyone is murmuring, everyone is talking about it. So Violet is feeling guilty that he's like going through all of that, and it's like nobody believes him. So he tells to turn to share just that specific memory when she saw Amber opening the door and being there with the other ones. Turns out that, well, that's not something that is kind of like illegal.
It's never been done. Do you genuinely believe in the 600 years there's been bonds that nobody's ever
Nobody had
shared?
that idea, like for a child or something. But then, well, this is exactly what happened, because from my point of view, it's like he shared with the dragons first, and then from the dragons share them to every single rider.
Yeah.
That's what I think it happens.
Yeah.
And then the rider just maybe at the same like feeling the Violet had when she was looking at her bag. They just boom, they start to see what Violet was seeing.
Yeah.
And then this when they realize shit.
Then
it's
it changes all of a sudden, doesn't it? And
Yeah,
she's
it's like-
executed. But Dane still gets angry.
Yes.
She didn't share it with him.
And again, it's like she's saying that Amber can do that because that's against the rules, and she won't do that kind of stuff. But then it's like, okay, that means that Zayden is lying, which is against the rules as well. So, and he's directly wing leader.
Yeah.
So why he has over like a moral code just for the specific people, and
Right,
then
he
for the
doesn't
other
like
one
Zayden because
doesn't.
he is super jealous of him. But then Violet even says that Zayden has an unfair advantage.
Looking,
Yeah, because he
looking
looks so
sexy.
good. Even the most effective poisons come in pretty packages.
yeah, he doesn't need to try to be sexy. He just is.
Yeah.
And obviously now everyone believes, and then Satan say, okay, now you're being found out guilty because of this. And you know that when everything happens, and I knew like, okay, Taryn is telling to Violet to wake up because the danger is coming. I thought it was like Amber's dragon telling to Taryn that was happening, because between Riders and Dragon, they share thought. They know what's going on. It's not something that you can hide. So I thought maybe, how is Amber's dragon called? Like Cat is? Clyde. Yeah, something like that. I think maybe the dragon told to Taryn, this is what my rider is doing. It's going to kill your rider, and if you die.
But Clyde would know that.
Yeah, there's
Amber
a
would
capital
die.
offense and Amber would die, but because the dragon was like I think it was an orange.
It's an orange,
so
yeah.
they don't bound that much, or they kind of like used to lose riders
They
as
do
well.
seem like the worst dragon to have, don't they?
Yeah, like you control them because
Yeah.
like they just don't bond that much. So if you die, they just going to replace you.
Yeah.
So I thought that maybe the dragon was against her, that she wasn't sharing that stuff. And that's another question, like, can a dragon, like, try to unbond from the rider if I later on change their mind, like, oh shit, this is not a good one. Can
Probably
I just,
kill
like...
it. Do you know what I think Dane caused this?
Well,
He didn't help himself. So Violet was so determined to prove it to Dane without letting him see the rest of her memories that she didn't even think about what would happen afterwards.
Yes.
So she knew that she also was comparing Dane and Zayden at that point and saying Zayden just trusted me and he didn't even ask me questions, and he's up there fighting potentially for his life, because if he accuses her and they decide it's not true,
yes,
then he's dead.
true.
So if Dane hadn't acted so strongly against believing Violet, she wouldn't have pushed so hard to make everyone believe her and rescue Zayden, because she was probably thinking, well, Dane doesn't believe me, so they're not going to believe him. Nobody's going to believe him, so I need to prove it to them. So
Yeah.
I think Dane is partially responsible for that. Is 100% responsible for that memory being shared.
Sure. I mean, that's like the most quickest way to show that they were telling the truth. I think even if Dan wasn't there, Satan would be in such a like trouble trying to prove without proof
Yeah.
what he's saying, that eventually she will come to exactly the same dilemma. They need to share their
Yeah.
memory too, because
would've
everything
done it to
was
protect him.
helps Satan regardless
Yeah.
of who it was.
But it was more to make
I think Dan was like a, how you call it,
the driver.
or the catalyzer
Yeah,
for
the
this.
catalyst, yeah.
Yes. And then Taryn was like the one having the honor as well. And was in this part when I knew that Clyde wasn't involved in all of this, because he kind of like tried to defend her or
Yeah,
like being
and
in
then,
front,
like,
and then
realised,
Taryn
yeah.
was like just,
Big roar in his face.
yes, step ahead, orange one.
Yeah.
And then she just died, and Clay just cries.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing, I don't know if it's physical pain, mental pain, or just broken heart.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I think
he
it's broken
suffered.
heart. It's also probably a bit of shame, because
Didn't choose a good rider.
Well, the epigraph at the beginning says, again, I'm going to go back to the epigraph, says, if you're right, then we've failed to select the best wing leader. If you're wrong, then you're dead.
Yes.
And that kind of makes me think of, from Clyde's perspective, he's failed, or she, I don't know. We are rubbish at
With the
guessing
names.
genders. But the dragon has failed to choose a good rider, so there might be a bit of shame in there as well. There's like, because your rider tried to kill the most powerful dragon's rider.
Yes.
That's not great. You chose poorly if that is.
Yeah, because I think Terran, by this point, he's kind of like the leader of the dragons, at least the one in Basgia, the one that are like close.
The only time
Yeah,
you see
the group, yes.
the only time you see him step back a bit is when Coda's around.
Yes.
So, yeah, I feel like there's multiple things. Coming back to Dane, he's an absolute baby. He hasn't spoken to Violet since they had the fight. He didn't even notice. He hasn't even looked at her. He didn't notice that she's got bruises all around her neck.
Yeah.
So, the other thing is you'd think he'd be grateful for Xaden putting Liam in his squad. One, Liam's the best cadet in the first year, and he said, you can thank me when you win the squad battle. So he's given him an advantage for the back squad battles. But also, he wants to protect Violet. So he wants to have a bodyguard.
Yeah.
But just because he's not the one that thought of it, or he didn't have the power to put somebody there looking after her, or she wouldn't have even accepted it. She wouldn't have even accepted it. I know that Violet's not particularly accepting of the fact she needs one. But I wondered again, it was another question of whether he had some prejudice against Mark ones because of his dad and because he's so loyal to Navarre and rules and everything. Or whether it's because he just really dislikes Xaden. And I still think it's the dislike of Xaden. I don't think it's prejudice. Although there's several times where you think, is he, or does he just not like Xaden? And I'm sure it's the Xaden thing.
Well, I think it's just because from the beginning he said that Xaden was like ruthless, that he's just like kind of like, yeah, he's a bad guy, so you shouldn't stay close to that guy because he's dangerous. And now he starts to see that Violet is kind of like follow his advice, that whatever he says, he just follow with that, even if I should not agree. Because I think as well, if I was then the one who put the bodyguard, Violet will be like, no, take this guy away or whatever, and she will do it, he will do it.
Yeah.
But with Zayda, it's like Violet, no, there is no point because he said that he's gonna do it. He doesn't give a shit. Like, this is the best for you.
And also it's Liam.
And you're gonna do it.
Everybody likes Liam.
Well, nobody knows anything about Liam by this point.
I know, I'm sorry. But
she will like it.
She'll like him.
Yes.
He's nice. I really like the intro to Riddick's sex life, where they're talking behind the thing. They're giving him...
somebody's in trouble.
Yeah, because normally he's the one that's given the banter, but Ree gives it back to him.
Yeah.
And you find that he's sleeping with... is it a section leader? Somebody quite high ranking in Another Wings. Not in his line of chain of command, but he also offers Violet if she needs some attention.
Sex, yes.
Yeah, he offers that. And then damp Dane again turns around to tell him to shut the hell up. Oh, it's just... And then there's an interesting reference in this chapter to Xaden's daddy. Shadow Daddy's daddy.
So yeah, she said what she heard about his dad had this power that just grab all the attention without saying anything.
Magnetism.
Yes, there's kind of like a leader thing when you just stand out there and everyone just give you your attention.
There's a couple of interesting things. So the ability to hold and capture a crowd with nothing but his words. Xaden has similarities to his dad. But also there's books about his dad. She read it in a book. So I'm interested to know what those books are. They're like a first-hand account of the rebellion.
Well, I think by this point, it's kind of like, in Second World War, you start to hear like stuff about Adolf Hitler, and you hear like biography and books about him, how he gained that much power, or how he built that kind of like army. It must be something similar. So he is like marked as the bad guy, the guy who caused so much damage to the nation. So I'm pretty sure that, there's going to be so many
about him,
books
painting
about
him to be worse, potentially, than... Well, we shouldn't compare him to Hitler in that way, because Hitler was really bad. Just now.
Yeah, but, I mean, it's something like the bad guy.
Yeah.
That tried to overtake everything and fell and was stopped for the good guys. And Satan has to deal with all the stuff. So, anything else that you want to mention? Because it's been more than 2 hours.
I know. I think so. That's probably
The takeaways from this chapter.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's everything. I think you've done really well. You've picked some really cool things out this week. That sounds really patronising.
No,
But
thank
you are obviously scouring over these pages and you're spotting so many things that could or could not happen.
Yeah, that's like the annoying thing. I come with something, I might want to know if I'm right or not. Or like, and yeah, you'll go like off on this, but I have to wait. And I don't know if I will find out in this book, or maybe it's in the next one. So because I know like okay, something's going on here, but I don't know if like this book it will end before we go to that part, and then for me like I fail. Or that will carry on for the next book, and then you won't say anything until I like, I knew it, or I was right.
Yeah, I can't wait for the episodes after Iron Flame where we can just go.
Come with conspiracies and theories.
Yeah, exactly. So just to sum up, normally at this point in the show we look at what new signets we've learned about. We also look at the dragons that we've met. So we do that really quickly. Emery has air manipulation, we mentioned that.
Yes.
There's also a mysterious signet patch with 2 silhouettes that we don't know the signet yet, but it's a pretty badass one. And then, not a signet, but Andana's ability to channel her true gift directly, and that's stopping time. I think we don't learn about any other... Oh, metal manipulation, I missed that one. Yeah, so that's Sawyer's. We also learn...
Jeremiah.
Oh yeah, but we learnt about Intinsic in the first week.
We knew already, just we see it now manifesting.
In action. We get a lot of dragons, so we know Ree is bonded to Fierge, the green. I'm not sure what tail Fierge has.
I think it's like Daggertail.
Daggertail, maybe. Yeah. They're all they're really common at Daggertail.
Yeah.
Riddick has a brown something.
Something tail.
And Sawyer has a red
tail.
Scorpion tail. Naira also has a red scorpion tail. Naira is the third wing leader. First wing leader. I don't know. She's another leader. Septon is another wing leader, and he has a brown dagger tail. Panchek has a green club tail, and I did not know this the first time, but I wouldn't have put Panchek down for a green, but he has a green club tail. And we learn that Amber did have an orange dagger tail.
Yes.
So let's just go 5 minutes. Who would win on the mat between Sawyer and Ree? From the bedroom to the mat to the sparring gym.
I had to give in this one to Sawyer because he's been in this situation.
He's had more practice.
Second year now. He's basically a second year.
Yeah.
It's just there's been a second year without dragon until now. Yeah. But all the training, all the sparring, he had more experience, and the way they describe it, he's kind of like a big guy as well. Ree, you can tell.
Ree is a threat.
Yeah, Ree is like very similar to Mira, like the way the Violet described her. So yeah, she is somebody that you need to be careful as well. But I think I give it to Sawyer more because he was more prepared, more determined to be a rider this year that he went through. It's just the fact that he did it twice. It's just amazing.
Yeah, I would give it... I think they're pretty well matched, but I would give it to Sawyer too. I think Rhea is really good at hand-to-hand, and she's like seriously a threat. But
yes,
Sawyer is so determined. Like, he learned he memorized all the dragons before thrashing.
And he was panicking when he knew about the fertility. Obviously, he was all so prepared, something that it wasn't in his plan. It just making nervous.
Also, he's got an unfair advantage at the moment where he can't control his signet. So even if the rules are you can't use your signet on the mat, how would he control it? All the daggers
maybe with daggers or the belt or the metallic star that she's wearing. That's how it
manifested, didn't it? It bent the sword back.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll give it to Sawyer.
Go to Sawyer, yes.
Okay. Cool. that was a really long discussion, but I genuinely think there's so much stuff in these chapters.
Yeah, definitely. We need to come back once we go through all the book.
Yeah.
And maybe with Iron Flame as well. If we come to the point that we had nothing about Onyx Storm and we are done with these books, then we can analyze more deeply all the information that now we have.
Yeah.
And
I want to do a whole episode on epigraphs as well, because there's just so much in there. I genuinely believe that if you read all the epigraphs, you can work out what's going to happen.
Yes.
It's really clever. So, yeah, that's us for this week.
Yes, this is the end of this episode. There's been the longest so far.
Yeah. If you're not already following us on social media, then you can find us on Instagram at faithfullyfantasypod.
Yes.
We're also on TikTok at faithfullyfantasy on TikTok without the pod. We post the same content, so find us on either one of those. You can also find out more about us at www.faithfullyfantasy.com. So you can access all of the links to all of the podcast apps, but also listen directly on the website. You can read a little bit about us on there as well.
Yes, on the website you have everything that you need. So if you want to hear all the episodes, you can choose your favorite app, and we have your back. We have so far the most popular one, so you can hear this podcast Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Audible, and plus more. So if you just want to hear what's going on, you can use your preferred app to do it. If you have the time to see us on YouTube, then
just
you can...
chilled out on our sofa. We're not doing anything particularly exciting.
Exactly. Then you can go to YouTube. The link is in the website as well. You can subscribe, like comment
video
as well.
Yeah.
And we'll see you next week.
Yes. Meet us on the flight field. See you next week.
See you next week, and thank you very much.
Next week on Faithfully Fantasy.
I have to say, these chapters generate a lot of questions on me. Finally, the Violet is ready, and the evening he starts to channeling, and right after he having sex with a girl.
Maybe he's just been really pent up. It's like, oh, finally she's ready. Well, now I can do that. And make it.
Maybe it's like, oh, you look so sexy channeling. Come here, give me some sugar.
Some dragon sugar. Where was Andana?
Maybe Andana, she was like covering the ears.
She knows where the research is, and we still don't know where the research is by the end of Iron Flame. You've bonded a feather tail, for God's sake. Don't you want to know what your dad found out? I know where it is. I'm going to tell you when we get to my bit.